What's up, you guys? We are here. Y'all know who's with us. My boy, y'all. And little baby is here, honey. So first of all, before we get started, how you guys doing? How's life? How's the week been treating you?
First off, can y'all hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so my internet is shaky.
You know what? Teddy said that my internet was acting up too, so we're gonna make it do what it do. We're gonna make it do what it do. Y'all, you good over there?
Me and my dog, she been, acting a fool lately,
Listen, what they say, the planets in retrograde, what they say?
Is that what it is?
I don't know.
I didn't know that affected animals too. Like,
they're sensitive to our moods, so maybe they.
It's raining today, and it's gonna rain all day tomorrow here. So, like, I have it to where she can still go outside and not get wet. She gonna climb up on the stairs, just look at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, okay, all right. I'm not gonna bring you outside no more. Because you ain't trying to get wet. I ain't trying to get wet. Like, okay.
Right. You ain't trying to get wet. I ain't trying to get wet. Listen, I understand. It's Spirit Week at my school, and homecoming was supposed to be tomorrow, and of course we had to come up with all these contingency plans because it's supposed to be pouring cats and dogs tomorrow. And I was like, well, listen, on a good day, I wasn't gonna be at no pep rally, so I know I ain't gonna be there in the rain, okay? But
where is your spirit? Where is that in the spirit?
Don't even get me started.
I'm just asking the question.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. We have China White, one of my members. Hey girl, Lock Queen, Whitney Diamond Paints. Hey girl, Dominique, Pinky Tiki. What pulls my teeth? Hey boo, Tracy Chappelle, and my man Cams. What's up, you guys? Good afternoon, everybody. Listen, we are almost in November. So before we get into this part 3, listen, part 3 ain't give a whole lot, but we're going to make it do what it do. But before we get into part 3, I just want to say, I really, really want to thank Yarrell, and I really, really, really want to thank Lil Baby for rocking the whole season. We are down to one more episode. And for the exception of a few weeks here or there, we was here the whole season. So I want to thank y'all. I really appreciate y'all here. Y'all, what you got?
What you mean?
Oh, you put your finger up, so I thought you was going to say something.
Oh, no.
You gave me the church finger.
You know what? Force a habit.
No problem. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and get this party started. So last night was part 3 of the 4-part reunion. And this was what we were, for me, this episode is what I was afraid of when they first announced a 4-part reunion, because I was thinking they don't have enough for 4 parts. And last night proved to me that they didn't have enough for 4 parts. Last night was a snooze fest. If you look at my review, I think I yawned like 2 or 3 times during my review. It just was a snooze fest. What do you think? What you got to say, y'all?
Was that the reason you was yawning? Because you claimed you didn't know why you was yawning in your review.
Well, I didn't know why I was yawning, but I'm going to blame them. I'm going to blame them. What about you, y'all? How you feel about last night's episode?
It gave very part 1 out of 4. How a lot of the 4 parts first one is normally the one that's horrible. Yet you give it to us at 3, and obviously this is just to get as much money out of this as possible. Get
Right.
the average is like, we know what it's for, but it's like doing this consistently, you're going to lose your fan base because it's like, okay, now you're playing with us. Because there really wasn't nothing that we got last night that couldn't have been put in another part, and the rest of that just scrapped. Because I mean, I'm just going to be all the way honest. Did we really need a Kathy Hilton montage? Like, did she need her own package? Like, because
first of all, Kathy Hilton is a friend of the show. She ain't even a diamond holder, and the fact that she not only has been there for almost all of the reunion, but the fact that she got her own, like you said, her own package. And really, let's be honest, not one, but two. Because when she first came out, they gave her the Kathy Hilton package.
All I'm going to say is this. I better see a package for a scholar for the Potomac Read. But I know, but again, we know why, because of who Kathy is. So that's why.
That's a whole nother conversation.
They were just kissing her butt, so that's why she got the package. But just a lot of what we got, we didn't need, because it was just like, even what Crystal gave us, we really didn't need that. I know we're going to. I'm just saying, like, this really didn't give us a whole lot. Even with last week, when they start talking about Renna and her daughters, we didn't need that because that had nothing to do with
Lord knows we didn't need that.
Children.
But the sad thing is, that's her whole storyline this season, was having Erika's back, fucking with Garcelle and her daughter.
That's it.
Little baby, how'd you feel about this episode? And Laura, we're gonna get into that. Lauren. How you feel about this episode?
They proved me out to be a lie, and I don't like
that. What's the lie?
I thought they had enough material worthy of 4 episodes.
Listen, I said the same thing, but again, let's get into it, because this is how I knew we were in trouble. I knew we were in trouble when the first 5 minutes of this episode was the last 5 minutes of the last episode. I said, well, I know we're in trouble now, because we literally sat through this exact same scene at the end of last week's episode. Them crying on the couch. I mean, it was the exact same scene. And I'm like, why are we getting all of this? We literally sat through all of this.
Right. To echo what you said last week, I wish they wouldn't have chopped up Erika's segments and littered them throughout the episodes. But that's basically what they did.
That, child. You know they had to do that.
I hated they did that, because some stuff is like really disjointed and out of place. It's like you coming off of this emotional high, and then like going to like these quote unquote feel good moments. Everyone's calm. It makes no sense.
Well, let's just go on to it. I'm going through my notes. So y'all, you have your notes. I have my notes. We can just jump in. We start off with Kathy and Kyle. We just talked about that. And then they did talk about how Garcelle was saying how she wasn't speaking to her sister, and they had the flashback of her forgetting her sister's name. And she said maybe that's why, because her sister ain't really speaking. So I think watching Kathy and Kyle sort of patch things up, maybe inspire her to talk to her sister. But I felt like that scene was very disingenuous, because we know that Kathy and Kyle's situation is deeper than what they showed us.
I have to 10,000% agree. They are all hunky-dory after not speaking to one another. That's a long time to go without speaking to your sibling, and then y'all just come back together. Now I'm saying y'all are best friends again.
Well, you see what they said. Did you see what she said? Y'all don't know the real Kyle.
I caught that, and they just eased right on by it.
I caught it, and she wasn't talking about us not knowing the real Kyle being a jokester.
No,
she was saying this got some shit to her.
Exactly. She sure was. And again, it's a disingenuous to have us feel like all of this was over American Woman, because we know it wasn't. Kathy already wasn't speaking to her when she did American Woman. They already weren't speaking.
Right. It was a culmination of things. But the word on the curb is the reason why Kathy is on this show is to basically rebrand the Hilton brand. Basically, not saying her and Rick are going broke, but the money ain't what it used to be. Money isn't how we think the money is. And that's the reason why she came on this show.
Interesting.
And I don't think we're gonna hear anything about a chapter 11 or chapter 7 anytime soon, if at all. But the reason why she's on this show is because financially they aren't on the up and up like we think they are. And as we already know that during the season, basically this entire time Kathy been on this show, it's been product placement after product placement after product placement. She did a whole real estate listing for a $50 million home.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, if Kathy comes back next season, I want them to bring back Kim. And even though we gave Garcelle the blues about how she came at Paris when talking to the mother, I want everybody to get in Kathy's ass. Because I don't want her having this treatment of can't nobody say nothing to her because she's Kathy Hilton. Because that's going to wear me out real fast.
Well, they were filming, Garcelle was at, was that Paris's baby shower? Was it her baby shower or her bridal shower? So they're filming. So that's going to be part of the show next season. So I'm sure we'll see that whole situation.
I guess I'm just like, but that's one thing that I don't like is when people come to these shows and everybody feels like, oh, I can't say nothing to that person. Like, no, they fair game.
Listen, they on the show just like I am.
So let's get with the shits. That's all I'm saying. Like, I don't really care about the whole Kathy package, whatever. Like, I'm gonna just stop talking because I'm gonna come off as being heartless and insensitive. So I'm gonna just stop talking.
So next we see Crystal and Sutton again, and I will say this, and I said this in my review. I do understand where Crystal is coming from a little differently. During the season, I kind of gave her a hard time about the whole it's not that deep, you making a big deal about it. But again, you can't tell somebody else how to be offended. Like if she was offended and we know she already has body issues, then maybe that was, again, I think a lot of people took offense to the word violation. But if that is how she felt, I mean, in hindsight, I can't tell somebody else how to feel. I can't tell somebody else whether they felt violated in that moment or not. Because we did see that Sutton knocked but didn't wait for an answer. She did knock and just open the damn door, which is not polite to do. And so I'm gonna back up a little bit off of what I said during the season and say I see where Crystal is coming from. That still don't make me become a fan of hers again, but I will say that I did see a little bit of where she was coming from. And Sutton did apologize again, child. Listen, they brought up them leather pants, and I can appreciate that Crystal was like, listen, she ain't got like my leather pants. That's fine.
But one thing I can appreciate is with like obviously they had gotten past it. This is one of the few times that we see during reality TV show reunions where people claim they got past something we at the reunion and now they're finding like they never apologize to each other. So that was somewhat refreshing where they just rehashed it because it happened during the show, but they didn't get into a cat fight over it. So I was appreciative of that.
Yeah, I can appreciate that too. Crystal talked about her experience on the show and how much racism she's been facing and the backlash, which I thought, whether she was one of my favorites or not, which she wasn't, I definitely never want to see that happen. We know the internet thugs, the keyboard gangsters can be, very unrelenting. And so I definitely, and I remember when she turned off her comments. I do remember that, when she turned off her comments. And I think ultimately she did leave social media. And so I was, I'm sorry to hear that. Anybody want to say anything about that?
Honestly, Crystal's entire segment was tired. Tired, through, and delayed. I needed some spice. To me, I get her and Sutton made up. I still wanted to see them talk about the makeup. I want them to go in depth.
You breaking up, little baby. You breaking up, boo.
Can you hear me now?
You're better. You're a little bit better now. Say it again.
Okay. To me, Crystal's entire segment was tired, through, and delayed. I wanted some spice. I wanted her and Sutton to go deep. I know they made up. I know they are cool. I still wanted them to discuss it. Give us the details to that.
But I feel like we got it. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think there's anything left to discuss. We got it. Because they beat that horse to death during the season. Like, you don't remember there was 3 whole episodes about Sutton bringing her that damn coat?
But I get that part, but like,
I mean, I don't know what else they could have talked about.
I just want to see something else. And on top of that, I want her to see her give it to Renna for that stunt she pulled at the pool.
That's the part I wanted them to talk about. I didn't care nothing about her and Sutton, but when they were talking about her bulimia and they did her package and they showed her in that damn bathing suit, I wanted Andy to be like, so Renna, you said you were gonna wear the bathing suit. You convinced old girl to put the bathing suit on and get in the camera, then you showed up in some damn yoga pants. What's up with that? Knowing her history, you know how Andy is, knowing her history with bulimia, why would you set her up like that? That's what I was waiting for, and they let that thing float right on by. I said, so we ain't gonna say shit about Renna setting her ass up. Which tells me that was a production stunt.
Last year of Renna feeding into her daughter's eating disorder. So again, like, Renna can sit up here and playing post face all she wants, but it's obvious what she's doing.
I don't know. I thought, I was like, they really let that one. I felt like, I said that must have been a production stunt, because I felt like they let that one float right on by, like it didn't even happen.
Or maybe they did have the conversation and just cut it out, because you know they're notorious for protecting certain people. So it's a chance the conversation happened. They just decided not to include it.
Right. And again, I feel like this is how we could have gotten 4 really good episodes if you had explored that. I also agree with what Natalia said in the chat. They brought up the fact that she had a problem with Sutton saying she didn't see color, but they didn't really harp on it with Kathy. And I felt like they could have pushed that envelope a little bit harder, and they did not.
But it's because it's Kathy Hilton.
No, I get it, but I'm just saying, again, this is how, if we're talking about how this episode could have been better, it wasn't that they didn't have the opportunity to push certain conversations and have certain conversations. They just chose to. And again, I don't know how much of that was with they were so short-sighted because they thought they had so much with Erika, or how much of it was, like you said, we don't want to push that envelope for whatever reason.
Well, I don't know. We could all, like, I was waiting for them to tie everything in between the women of color, because you had Garcelle on the show explaining how she feels in this group, but they act like it doesn't exist. But as soon as she breaks down, now all of a sudden we get you. You're part of this group. And you have Chris on the other side, where she could attest to it during the show, but never did, even though she understands what this feeling is. Now we're at the reunion, and she's telling her story. Don't nobody really care until she breaks down. And now it's, we love you. We love your culture. So why are we not addressing the fact that there's these 2 women of color at 2 different stages that y'all could have rallied behind, but y'all wait until they have been broken down? So you need them to break down first for you to fully accept them in some way, shape, form, or fashion. I have an issue with that. I really do.
Well, I had an issue with it when it happened to Garcelle. I cussed all through my review about that, because I had a huge problem when that happened with Garcelle. And the fact that Garcelle said the exact same thing, but it wasn't until she said it through tears that all of a sudden everybody understood.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And again, I didn't see anybody tweeting out supporting Crystal and coming to her defense when all this was going on when she got off of social media. And if they did, I missed it because I do other things in my day. So if they did it, I missed it. Okay. Then they had a whole package on glam that they could have kept. Like, I get it. We watched Beverly Hills for the glam, but we didn't need a whole package just dedicated to the glam. Because let's be clear, it won't that deep this year.
Now, had it been one of the other seasons, especially because I even said in my review, I'm surprised nobody said Erika, but given this season, I can understand why. But she actually had concepts and storyboards and whatnot. But again,
yeah, Erika put together. Yeah, she put together moments,
and
like,
I just
used to be moments.
I just want to say the COVID weight does not look good on Erika. Maybe it's something else, but
it's poor weight.
You think it's what?
Poor weight.
No, I think it was purposefully done to make her look decent but not glam. I think her makeup was not done well on purpose. I don't believe for a minute, because Erika did not look good at all. She really did not look good.
I'm glad you brought that up because that eyebrow, I wanted to take my angled brush and straighten it up so bad. The makeup was bad. It was bad.
Oh, so can you put up what Whitney just posted? Look, I said this in my review last night that it was in the rumor mill that Dorit buys clothes from certain designers, certain stores, and turns right back around and sells them. So she's allegedly on a no shop list for certain designers.
I heard that too. I do not. If she does pay full price, it's a miracle because I heard that too. She will buy the designer clothes and then sell them at consignment. That is what I heard.
But see, but I like. But when Andy asked her the question, like, he didn't really go and tell how I'm about to explain it because I knew exactly what he meant. Because what he was trying to say, for those who don't know, is a lot of these celebrities, if you will, using air quotes, will strike a deal with a certain designer or whatnot where you wear this, or it might be a product. You present this product while you're on this show, and if it's a designer, we'll either give it to you for free or at a reduced fee. You need to have it on the show and also post it on your social media. Like, these are deals that they have. So that's what he was alluding to without going all the way down that rabbit hole of telling what happens behind the scenes. So, and she was like, no, I pay full price. And I'm sitting there like, well, who money? With what money?
That's what I asked too.
Not only that, but I absolutely believe both of those things could be true. One, that she's reselling it as fast as she can buy it. And two, that she is being paid for certain product placement. And I'm going to say this. I think that not Erika, Lord. I think that Dorit wears, first of all, Dorit dresses, okay? But the way she dresses is very nouveau riche because she wears entirely too many labels. And I don't mean designer clothes, I mean logos.
Yep.
You do not need a Louis Vuitton trench coat over top of a Louis Vuitton dress, over top of Louis Vuitton boots with a Louis Vuitton bag that all have the Louis Vuitton logo. That is just not how people dress that have the money that way. Now, everything they have on might be Louis Vuitton, but it ain't going to be logo Louis Vuitton.
Right.
Same thing with Gucci. There are some things that, and I'm no fashionista, but I can usually spot Gucci without a logo being on there. Without it even being a logo, I'd be like, oh, that's a Gucci. Same thing with Versace. It's a look. Now, I'm not a fashionista. I don't know all the different designers and labels and all that. Same thing with Coco Chanel. There's certain trademarks. So you can wear stuff like that all the time and people still know what you have on without the logo over everything. And the fact that everything she wears is so logo heavy, that's the other reason that it makes me feel like somebody's paying you to do all this, because that's just so gauche.
It is. She did wear a lot of monogram print this year.
Yes. Yeah, and she's done it in the past. I remember a few years ago on I know a few years ago on what's that show? Basketball Wives, when Shawnee and Evelyn had a Gucci deal, and they wore Gucci the whole season. But it was known that they were doing it. They was known that it was product placement, that they had gotten this deal with Gucci. So it happens on shows all the time. And I even said that in a couple of my reviews, that I feel like she's getting paid to wear some of this stuff because it's just too in your face. Like we were talking about Kathy Hilton and the product placement. Hey guys, let's go to Ruth's Chris for dinner. Like it was just too in your face. You know what I'm saying?
And Rena laughed, and I laughed with them.
Right. Okay. All right. So I'm sorry. So then we switch over to the Erika Jayne portion of our program, and they open up the door talking about the dinner with PK. Listen, I know that speaking of Dorit and her heels, I know she broke her damn ankle trying to backpedal and pussy pop her way up out of that. Her and Kyle pissed me all the way off with their, well, we didn't mean it like that. I mean, we were just trying to, girl, you laughed at that woman. You thought it was funny standing your shit.
We all thought it was funny.
Hello?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
You breaking up, and you breaking up. But my thing is, first of all, that clip that they showed, it is clear that all of y'all was drunk or feeling really good. That's all you had to say. Girl, listen. Mauricio was drunk and high as hell. PK was drunk as hell. You know how this shit goes. We were filming for 8 hours. We have been drinking wine all damn day. You know that a 20-minute segment is a 4-hour taping. And I'm sorry, in that moment, it was funny. In the moment. We're not laughing at your pain, but Erika, you have to admit that these stories, if you weren't the one telling the story, you have to admit that the stories are ridiculous as fuck. That's how I would have handled it. And maybe that's why I ain't gonna never be on that stage. But I mean, I'm not about to sit here. The footage is in your face. I ain't about to sit here and argue about it. Yep, I laughed and it was funny as fuck. Yeah, what you got to say about
it? I think they're stupid. That's the best way that I can put this is I think that they're stupid. And here's why. And all reality, you knew that this was going to be a point of contention. You knew this was going to be a topic. You knew. So you mean to tell me from when it aired up until y'all shooting the reunion that you didn't think of, okay, how am I going to talk my way out of this? Because every time Kyle got hit with every time Kyle got hit with a question, it's a bit that's all, folks. That's all that it was. And it's like, so you just weren't even prepared for this. I don't know. Like, that's the only thing that
you had to have known that was coming up. You knew, like, come on, like you had to know that was coming up, and you should have been ready for the conversation and the answer. And like I said, at this point, and I just don't understand why they keep kissing this woman's ass. At this point, Erika, listen, you said that your husband, soon-to-be ex-husband, was robbed at gunpoint, and it triggered his damn glaucoma. Not because anybody pistol whipped him, not because he fell down and hit himself in the eye. The stress from the event triggered his glaucoma, and he had to go have surgery on his eye. All the while, your son came to check on him, and on the way home, flipped his car 5 times in the snow in Southern California. Listen, Erika, I'm glad your son is okay. I'm glad that your ex-husband is okay. But you ain't gonna sit here and say if that wasn't somebody else telling that story, your ass wouldn't have been laughing. Come on, stop it. Sometimes we gotta get out our own shit.
But here's one thing that I do want to bring up, especially in light of a certain book that the Housewives participated in. They got a whole lot of traction within the past week. I find it to be funny that when it came to Denise everybody believed the story because Brandy said it, and she wasn't even on the show that season. So you can believe something like that, where you have no evidence, no type of facts, no nothing, yet there's a documentary on what Tom did. There are articles listing certain things that are pretty much facts. You have her telling stories where there's not a police report, there's not all these other things. So y'all were all willing to take down Denise, but y'all not willing to give that same energy to Erika.
Okay.
Here's the issue with me. Dorit and Kyle had the opportunity to explain themselves. Sutton gets your ass to kiss. Dorit and Kyle question you the same way Sutton has. Behind your back, no less. You know what they claim Garcelle does in the confessional? She don't say it to your face, she say it behind your back. Y'all don't like that. But y'all done it to your good friend, Erika, with the same question Sutton was asking. But Sutton gets your ass to kiss. Dorit and Kyle and their husbands get together and Kiki and Kaka and show all of their teeth. But Sutton, who didn't do such a thing, gets your ass to kiss. And those two get an opportunity to explain themselves away. I don't like that.
Well, it's clear.
It's good for the gander.
Well, it's clear what they did with Sutton. If it wasn't clear to anybody before, it should have been crystal clear at that dinner at Kathy's house what they were doing to Sutton. When when Erika and Sutton had somewhat, whatever the situation was, and Kyle is going to tell Sutton, well, talk to Erika. And Sutton was like, girl, I tried. She don't want to talk to me. And when that didn't work, later on in the dinner, Kyle is going to say, well, you did tell me that you were going to confront Erika. You did tell me you didn't believe Erika. You did. It's like, if it wasn't clear to anybody before what was happening, that they were letting Sutton take the fall and say everything that the rest of them were thinking and let Sutton ask the questions that all of them wanted to know the answers to. If that wasn't clear before the dinner at Kathy Hilton's house, I don't know what to tell anybody afterwards, because it was so obvious that that's what they did with Sutton. And so that's exactly why, because they sat behind Sutton and they let Sutton take all the brunt of everything. And the only person that came anywhere close to having Sutton's back is Garcelle. So right. It was very obvious what they were doing with that. The thing that pissed me off was what came next was when Garcelle said, Erika, how can you sit here and act like you don't understand why we were concerned that there could possibly be blowback and there could possibly be us being lumped together? And Erika's response has got to be the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life, because she had the nerve to say, as if we live in America where the justice system always serves justice, and say, because y'all know it isn't true and you know it's bullshit, so why should you be worried? There's a whole lot of motherfuckers in jail right now based off of bullshit and lies.
Well, not just that, but Bravo has also been subpoenaed for unaired footage. So True. If they're willing to go for your employer, what in the hell makes you think they're not going to come for the cast members, your employee or the employees? So they have every reason to feel that way. It's just because Erika was talking so fast and loud and over people is why a lot of that fell by the wayside last night.
Yeah, I was like, come on, girl. Like, that is so stupid. The fact that you think that just because y'all, first of all, we don't know. Let's be clear. None of them knows anything because, again, Erika, you haven't showed anybody anything. So nobody really knows what was going on in that household with you and Tom. Don't nobody know what was going on between you and Tom.
And she's
Go
still
ahead.
playing the character.
Right.
She still don't want to let go of the Erika Jayne role.
Right. Go ahead. Yeah.
I just so we don't bypass it, even though Sutton is very calm and passive and she's not confrontational, I appreciated when she said to Erika, because Erika was saying when she was like, had these questions, y'all could have called me. And Sutton said, but you ran. I was like, oh.
Thank you.
I was like,
Thank you ran. And she's not going to tell me she did not know that LA Times article wasn't coming out. She's not going to tell me that. They contacted her. They contacted her for an interview, her and Tom. They contacted her people. That's what you do as journalists. You go to the horse's mouth. And when you can't get the actual horse, then you go to the people who are in the stable. Maybe you go to the horse next to them. Maybe you go to the goats. Maybe go talk to the pigs. Maybe go talk to whomever is shoveling the hay. That's what you do.
Wait, so they going to Giselle's house for this information? I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm being petty.
But that's what you do. She knew this article was coming out, and she knew the day this article was coming out. Like we learned this years ago. Celebrities have people in places that give them a heads up on when certain articles drop, whether it's the day of or the day before or days before. And that is when they get into their PR bag, and some of them start doing stunts and shows to distract and detest from the article.
they absolutely knew. They absolutely knew. I mean, Erika absolutely knew, and let's also, and I know that they don't want to break the fourth wall, but let's also address the fact that there was that huge fight that happened because she got mad at Garcelle and she was mad at production because she thought that she wasn't mic'd or that whatever it was when Garcelle repeated what she repeated. She was just as mad at production as she was mad at Garcelle, and from all accounts, that argument, Erika went off on production. Erika had a whole breakdown. Like that was a whole moment. So it wasn't just she got mad at Garcelle and kind of snapped at Garcelle. She shut down filming they said they were there for like 2 hours. If that scene of Erika in the bathroom crying, that went on for a minute. So I know they don't like breaking the fourth wall, but I kind of wish they had addressed that when they brought up the fact that she said she left because of the situation with Garcelle. No, that ain't why you left, boo boo.
Right. That's not why you left. You left because that article was dropping and you didn't want to answer those questions. And again, to Sutton's point, you ran. And whenever we try to answer questions, I mean, whenever Sutton is pushed out there to answer the questions that everybody wants asked, you bite Sutton's head off. So right. How is someone going to come to you and ask for anything when all you're going to do is bite their head off or lie?
I'm just like you. She bit Crystal's head off when Crystal, I mean, we'll get to that a little bit later on, but when Crystal was like, well, you just don't seem to have any anger at Tom. I mean, she bit Crystal's head off. So you act like all y'all had to do was come to me, but no, it ain't that easy, girl.
I'm glad she bit Crystal's head off because Crystal been trying to fit in and they showing you ain't a part of the Cool Girls Club. So I'm glad that happened. I am.
I mean, regardless of, I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean, I don't have a feeling about it one way or the other, but again, it just goes to you act like you're an open book and you would have been so open and it's so easy to just come and talk to you and you prove time and time again, but it's not. It's not, you know.
You don't want people to know the real you again. You're clamoring on to this Erika Jayne persona. She's not real, girl.
And I can't wait to hear her go off next week saying, can one of you please have my back for what? Right. Now I will say, I will commend Erika for the keeping score comment. And not revealing the hand. I'll give her that because I mean, hey, like that's a smart move where it's like, but one, just in general, like, okay, I know who's for me, who's against me, just knowing that. And that's just in any situation, but going into the next season, that's leverage she can use to sit here and manipulate people to get what she wants. So Smart of her on that end.
Spend time manipulating creditors.
So then we had where the whole conversation about the victims comes up, and they asking Erika why she never expressed any remorse about the victims. And Erika, because Kathy tried to save Erika and said, well, Andy, this isn't the first time that someone's been in legal trouble. And Andy was like, yeah, but that was always like tax evasion or something with property or something. This isn't dealing with real people. And Erika was like, but I've expressed remorse, baby. Everybody on that couch said, no, you haven't. You ain't never. And she was like, I've repeatedly. And the funny thing was, when everybody called her out and said, girl, no, you haven't. You ain't never said nothing about them victims. She said, well, you have to understand that I have to be very careful with my words. So which one is it, Erika? Have you expressed remorse and concern about the victims, or have you not done it because you have to watch your words? Hello, ma'am? Because you just said two different things.
I mean, facts.
I mean, anyway.
I mean, even with the whole victim thing, like if I'm not mistaken, I believe that was at Kathy Hilton's house, that dinner, where the first time
I gotta take this call.
Where the first time we actually heard about the victims, I believe it was maybe Garcelle or maybe it was Frito Lay's that brought it up, but that's the first time that we actually heard the victims brought up and her remotely. It was Garcelle?
Yeah. Because Garcelle was talking about her sister who went through something similar with the lawyer.
Right. And that's the first time we ever heard Erika remotely say anything when it came to the victims.
And like, even then she was hesitant. It was like she said it through her teeth.
Yeah, well, because it's a script that she has to stick to. You know, I mean, she even said there was a certain way that she had to talk about things. Okay, yeah, whatever. A lot of things you lied about. And I mean, I don't know. I don't think Andy should have been the one to do the damn interviewing. Like, unless we really get some new truths next Wednesday, I don't know. Because I mean, just even with some of the questions, like he let her skate off and talk around it, where some of the questions were simple yes or no, this or that. Or let me just say this. He could be like, no, answer the question. Yes or no. Did this happen? Did you? Waste of time. Waste of space.
I apologize, you guys. I got a family situation going on, so that's why I had to take that phone call. I had a phone call when I was live with El Teddy too, so I apologize for that. I had to take the phone call. Everything's okay, but I just had to take the phone call. Okay. I agree. I was listening though, y'all. Agree.
Oh.
So then they put up the social media, and everybody again tried to explain to her why her social media was showing that she was tone deaf. And, you know, Andy even said, you showing this opulent lifestyle. And she act like she didn't understand the word opulent. And he was like, yeah, like your rich ass lifestyle. Well, I'm getting paid for that. Should I not get paid? Should I not pay the bills? But it's not the post that you're putting up. I mean, it's not the pictures so much as the post when you're telling people to kiss your ass and you're lashing out at the judges, you're lashing out at the lawyers, you know, when you're doxing people. Like, let's be honest, Erika, stop acting so innocent. Like, all I'm doing is posting some pictures of me in Fenty lingerie because I get paid to do that. No, ma'am. You're telling people to kiss your ass. You're like referencing things that people said on the show. Like, you are being very specific. And I get it. You're angry. I get it. But right now, like, listen, girl, be quiet. Get through this storm. And when you get on the other side, there will be a bidding war for you to tell your story. And you can say whatever you want to say on the other side. But right now, you have to know, and I'm sure that her attorneys have told her, girl, go sit down and be quiet and shut the fuck up.
And that has been Erika's downfall. Erika has refused to be humble. One of the captions on that post was a little Kim lyric, and at the end of that particular song, Kim says, I'll always be that rich bitch. So stuff like that is why people cannot buy into Erika's victimhood. I will say, Yeah, to a degree, Erika is a victim because Tom was the one who did this stuff, and he went and ran behind a conservatorship, and he's the one who's not being called to answer for his crimes. I will agree with her on that front. She didn't know what was going on in that law firm. She did not work there. Even if she did work there, that still doesn't mean that she knew what was going on. You have to be the one over the client's accounts and then accounting. She wasn't. Everything doesn't. Everyone in a law firm, depending on how big it is it privy to the ins and outs of everything. So again, like Erika want to play this thing of what can I work, man, you can work. But I've seen other Fenty ambassadors and they don't post those crude comments, those crude annotations with their posts. They post the freaking lingerie, move on.
Girl, your internet is horrible, but I wanted you to get that out, child. I wanted you to get it out.
I hate it.
Don't do that. Don't do me. She said, my tagline should be, I get it. Hey, authentically young. Oh, I must say that too much. Anyway.
I broke up really bad. Damn.
Now you sound fine, but yes, honey, you was breaking up really bad, child.
Damn.
I wanted you to get that out. You was on a roll, girl. You was on a roll. I wanted you to get it out, okay? But to your point, we caught Erika in another lie last night. I don't know if y'all caught it. Y'all probably did because he catches everything. But when they first asked Erika about what she knew and when she knew it, and she said that all of that was handled at the law firm. I don't work at the law firm. I don't know anything. But then later on, she said that she first got wind of what was going on when she got sued. So which one is it, Erika? Was it when you got sued? Or did you not know anything at all because everything happened at the law firm and you didn't know nothing? I'm just saying. Did you catch it, y'all?
I caught it.
20 on 10?
You're not, because as we all have said, there have been whispers for a very long time. I hope I'm not breaking up. There have been whispers for a very long time that there were financial problems over there at the Girardi house. The lawn keeper had been gone without payment for some time.
And we saw the condition of that house last year.
Right.
We saw the condition of that house. We saw the pool falling apart. We I even said it. You can go back to my review from last season when Erika did that and showed us and she was asking him for money to do some upkeep around the house. I said it don't make no. I don't understand how the house got like that. Remember, I said that in my review last year.
I remember.
And that's the other thing that was a contradiction. Erika said that she didn't know anything about any type of financial problems. That I call bullshit. I call bullshit.
I remember, what was it? If it wasn't last season, maybe last season and the season before last, weren't we talking about how Erika wasn't dressing how she normally was? It was just in tracksuits. She wasn't. Her fabulosity went out the window.
Yeah, we said that last season. Yeah, last season was when we started seeing the decline in Erika's glam. We did notice that last season.
Like, we were seeing things, but
I noticed
like she was completely in the dark. No,
but you know what else we noticed last season, but we didn't at the time. I didn't see it like that, but I'm about to say it. You noticed last season Erika filmed at her loft a lot. She had that psychic party at her house. And we saw that scene between her and Tom when she was talking about, when he was going over the contracts for Chicago. But other than that, Erika filmed at that loft most of last season. You remember that?
Oh, I'm trying to remember, child.
Remember she had at the downtown loft when she that time when Teddy was there. She didn't have nothing for Teddy because all she had was alcoholic drinks and sushi. And she was like, and Teddy was like, damn, I just feel like everybody keeps forgetting that I'm pregnant. And then there were like 2 other times that Erika was at that loft last season. Prior to that, we hardly ever saw that loft. But she did a lot of her filming from her downtown loft last season.
her authentically young, like Erika's whole look. I was looking at the hairline. I was trying to see if it was real or
First of
wig.
all, the one
was
thing I
amazing.
will say with these 3 episodes is these outfits are not getting any prettier. Like they just are not looking any better.
Listen,
That dress that Kyle has on is absolutely horrid. It is
listen.
horrid.
I already hated Kyle's hair, but last episode when I really got to look at it and like the camera just stayed on Kyle, that hair got stupider and stupider.
I like Kyle's hair. I don't like that damn dress.
Kyle's hair looked like a 4-year-old playing in it.
I like her. I like her hair, but it looked to me that outfit looks like an 18-year-old going to the club for the first time. Like that dress,
it looked like
the boobs and the little thing in the front. That was just it's.
I hated it.
Kathy looked like she got on an old doll baby dress. Like I just can't. I think this got to be the worst reunion since like the first couple of seasons of any of the Housewives. Like once they started getting real glam, this has got to be the worst reunion looks. I mean across the board for all of them. Like I said, the one that I like the most is Dorit's, and that still ain't saying much.
Garcelle said Dorit's dress was all over the floor before the end of the night, and they were up there trying to break their neck.
I got that, but I can't only go by what I'm seeing, and what I'm seeing, it ain't doing nothing for me.
And Crystal looked like she had to finish putting through some POs before they end the close.
Well, let's be clear. I don't like none of. I don't think Crystal has worn anything on the show that I like. So, I mean, me and Sutton agree on that. Like Crystal's style is hard. Anyway, that was pretty much the episode, y'all. It just didn't give me nothing. Was anything I missed? Anything y'all want to add to that?
Other than I need Erika to stop being so defensive. Like again, give that energy to Tom. Nobody else did this to you.
And I'm sick of her acting like there's a part of the story we don't know, and that we don't know that this man stole these people money. Like, stop acting like there's gonna be some magical revelation that's gonna mysteriously come into play that's gonna prove that he's innocent. Girl,
ma'am, the house you cannot have has a lien on it because one of your husband's victims could not get their money from him. You understand that, Miss Girardi?
Erika better hope they don't get her ass. But like, she might get away with the bankruptcy piece of it, but she better hope they don't get her ass for tax evasion because I was doing some funny things with the tax documents. Okay.
Yes, I heard one year they paid $500 and something in taxes.
That's some old Donald Trump shit.
Then other years they paid no taxes.
Yeah, that's some Donald Trump shit. Ain't no way in hell I'm paying tax. I owe taxes and I don't make no money. Okay, I'm a poor teacher. Poor teacher.
That's the thing. That was the reason why there were no bank accounts and debit cards, and there was always cash and credit cards.
Mm-hmm. Well, babies, that was that. Next week is the final installment of this season of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We have part 4, and it does look like it's going to get a little explosive, but honestly, I'm a little over it. I don't know much more. I don't know what more we're going to get from Erika that we ain't seen in the first 3 episodes. She's defensive. She's angry. She got a chip on her shoulder, and it's everybody's fault except for Tom's. I don't know what else we got.
This is what I did realize. Miss Dorit Kemsley has nothing going on because she said only 2 words that last reunion.
Well, speaking of Dorit, let's roll on into that. We're gonna end it here. I'm gonna do a quick drop on it, but I'll go ahead and speak it here. Dorit was robbed last night at gunpoint at her home in Beverly Hills. Allegedly, she woke up to the person standing over her with a gun to her head. She said, "Just don't hurt my babies. Just don't hurt my babies." It seems as though they ransacked her house for 20 minutes, going into every room except for the children's room, stealing all of her jewelry and handbags. She had just gotten back into town from London for her nephew's wedding. PK was still in London. Allegedly, he is on his way back to California. Now, listen, far be it for me to call somebody a liar. But first of all, the title to the article I read was shady because the title said Real Housewives of Beverly Hills alum robbed at gunpoint. Now I'm thinking, when did she become an alum? Did she get fired? And the New York and the Los Angeles Times knows about it and we don't? That's the first thing. The second thing I'm going to say is this. They brought that up at the reunion last night, did they not? Talk about
They sure did.
About because they talked about Renna getting all them damn dresses out her damn garage that's detached from her house, and how Kyle was robbed. And I find it very interesting that after last night's reunion, where she said that she buys all of her items and she doesn't resell them and she pays full price and she's going to hold on to her stuff for her daughters. I find it interesting that somebody broke into her home last night. I find it very interesting that they went into every room except for her children's bedroom. They came in through the kids' classroom, was the way it was described, and they got all of her jewelry and designer handbags. Doesn't that sound very reminiscent of what happened to Kai?
Okay.
I ain't saying they're gonna get robbed. I'm just saying.
I am going to say that I believe she was robbed. And here is why. I know a lot of us believe, when we think of Beverly Hills and places adjacent to it, that there is some sort of exclusivity. But the truth of the matter is, a lot of times it really isn't. A lot of us actually have more exclusivity to our homes and apartment complexes than those in Beverly Hills. And I want to add on top of that, Miss Teddy Mellencamp, her husband, always, the man with the security system, he always seems to have some sort of burglary attached to his installments.
But did he put her system in?
Absolutely. Remember when Kyle got robbed? Wasn't
Yeah, but I remember when Kyle got robbed, but I didn't know that he put in Dorit's system.
Mm-hmm. I always thought it was funny with Kyle's robbery. I always thought it was funny style because how ironic, before the system is hooked up, the day before the system is hooked up, Kyle gets robbed.
Well, I just find it interesting that right after, again, I'm not saying the woman didn't get robbed, y'all. I'm just bringing up some things that made me go, The fact that they went into every room except for your kid's room, so the burglars had a heart. The burglars had a heart.
I think the burglars had a floor plan.
Yeah,
because they had access to some security documents.
The night before you got back in town, the night you got back in town, I'll be curious to find out if she was supposed to stay another night in London, and the burglars didn't know she was going to be there. I'd be curious to find that information out.
Look.
Go ahead, y'all.
I smell not only fraud insurance, but also plot line because they're already recording.
They're filming. They start filming today or tomorrow.
So obviously, and they're starting early because they don't want to miss none of the Erika stuff. That's why they're starting earlier than what they normally would. And then also, a lot of this is just convenient. Granted, I don't think she know anybody named Pookie and Nuck and Junebug them, but whatever her equivalents of those are, I think this is probably one of those inside jobs where y'all come in here, break into the place, and then we gonna wrap. Because I'm trying to figure out. So don't y'all have cameras in your house? You ain't got no type of security. So you at home by yourself. You ain't got no type of weapon in the house,
And they might not know Junebug and Nuck, but they know somebody that can get it done because, again, we know that people do it, and we know that they are in financial straits. We know they got some financial issues.
But
they got some financial issues.
I'm looking at Teddy's husband because Also, very ironically, Teddy was one of the people who recalled, and Teddy was one of the main people to run to the press and talk. And again, it's her husband's security company at Dorit's house.
Well, IMC Brown, they never found out who robbed Kyle. Kyle thought it was somebody that was working on her house, because remember when they were getting work done to the home when it happened. So she thought it was somebody, but they had no proof, and they never found who did it, and they never recovered any of her stuff, which I also find to be very interesting, because again, you had a lot of really nice jewelry. You had, not only did you have like current handbags, but you had a lot of vintage handbags. She said her mother's purse collection, a lot of vintage Louis Vuitton and Valentino and Chanel pieces. You mean to tell me none of your stuff popped up? Kyle had hundreds of bags and hundreds and thousands of dollars worth of jewelry. None of your shit ever came up. Somebody just sitting back holding on to it. Anyway, I'm glad she wasn't hurt. I'm certainly glad that the kids weren't hurt. But we're gonna keep out, and I'm with you, y'all. It's interesting because now she got a storyline, don't she? She can cry about this whole season.
Well, before we wrap things up, I wanted to ask you, so how did you enjoy being at Giving You the Real T's place on Monday? How did you enjoy being over there?
I thought it was absolutely hilarious that Terrence and Scotty switched places. That is what I thought was hilarious. That Scotty was giving everybody the blues and Terrence was giving everybody the benefit of the doubt. I said, is this Freaky Friday or what? What is going on here?
And then Scotty posted one of those clips to Instagram. I hollered because he was saying, "No, that's not nice, Scotty." And I'm sitting on my face, just like, the hell?
Right. It was like
Terrence?
It was like we were in the Twilight Zone for Halloween. We were being punked or something. But it was a good time.
Because I mean, I somewhat showed my black behind. I ain't go all the way, I did a little light. I said I was gonna come over and Rick James on this couch. That's what I did. With my dirty boots and all, I said, F your couch. That's what I did when I went over there. Okay, I had a good time. Okay, it was nice. I just wasn't expecting the host to be so reserved. Like normally you turn all the way up, but now that you have company,
well, some people know how to act up in somebody else's house, but when they at home, they know how to act.
But if y'all missed it, if you missed it, I don't know how you did, but go to Giving You the THA Real T, just the letter T. We had us a good time over there for the panel this past week. We had us a fantastic time. He had all the ratchet snacks and everything else. He liked to pretend he bougie, but he had all the ratchetry, that we needed. He had my Four Loko. That's what I like. He had that over there. I had, I like me some malt liquor. Really don't like people that like malt liquor. I enjoy myself. That's right.
Yeah, I don't do the malt liquor. But anyway, a lot of bad decisions have been made on the account of malt liquor. But anyway, thank y'all for being here. We got one more week, and then we'll decide if we're going to just roll this thing on over to the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I feel like it's getting ready to start heating up. So maybe we might come down here on Thursdays and see if we got something to say about the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, child. But in the meantime, we have one more week of Beverly Hills. Thank y'all for being here. Again, as always, thank you, Lil Baby and Yocrates for y'all's insight. Again, if you are not subscribed to y'all's channel, please make sure y'all go over there and give him a good old subscription and check out his content. He's been dropping his videos before me last couple of weeks, child. He been on it.
Well, I mean, I'm not new to this. Okay, I'm true.
Oh, I know you're not new. Oh no. I know you're OG. You are OG. I know that.
Just took a little time off.
That's all. I give you your flowers on the fact that you are OG, but I'm just. All right, we're gonna be out of here. I don't know what videos y'all gonna get tonight. But y'all gonna get some. I feel like I'm about to go off on Project Runway. They had a whole Karen situation on last week's episode, and I feel like that's what y'all gonna get tonight. Is my point of view on the whole Karen situation. But filming started today. That's what I thought. Yeah, I know they filmed Kyle's daughter's quinceañera, and I know they filmed Paris Hilton's bridal shower. But as far as the whole, we're going to go to lunch together, we're going to come over your house and have cocktails. Yeah, that started today. Thank you, Callie girl. Thank you, babes. All right, y'all. We about to be out of here. Thank y'all for coming through. I appreciate y'all. God bless you. Good night.
Bye.